City Council meeting of March 17th, 2022 to order. Roll call, please.
Alderman Woods.
Here.
Alderman Sosnarski.
Here.
Alderman Sorrentino. Alderman Messina.
Here.
Alderman Jacob.
Here.
Alderman Currielli.
Here.
Alderman Catalano.
Here.
Alderman Ames. Here.
Here. Declare a quorum present. Please stand and join the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First off, we need a motion to approve the minutes of March 3rd, 2022.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Do we have any comments, corrections, questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. Do any citizens wish to be heard on matters not listed on the agenda? Being none this evening, I've got no written communique. No. Mayor's report. On behalf of the entire city council, staff, wish everybody happy St. Patrick's Day today. Do have one item. Appointment of Jack Surma for a 2-year term commencing March 17, 2022 and expiring April 30th, 2024 to the CDC, Community Development Commission. Do I have a motion?
Motion. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Let the minutes reflect Alderman Sorrentino is here. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that passes. And in case I didn't mention it to some of you, we had somebody step down, so, and next, city manager's report, Chief Festa.
There's no report.
Okay, consent agenda. If no objections, I have 4 items on the consent agenda. I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, and there was no objections. Okay, roll call, please.
Alderman Woods.
Yes.
Alderman Sosnarski.
Yes.
Alderman Sorrentino.
Yes.
Alderman Messina.
Yes.
Alderman Jacob.
Yes.
Alderman Currielli.
Yes.
Alderman Catalano.
Yes.
Alderman Ames. Yes.
And that passes. Next, need a motion to approve the items on the consent agenda. Item number 1, resolution seeking to approve an intergovernmental agreement between the City of Wooddale and the Village of Edison for certain police services. Item 2, resolution seeking to approve an intergovernmental agreement between the City of Wooddale and Wooddale Park District for certain police services. Item 3, a resolution approving agreement between the City of Wooddale and KSK Landscaping Handyman Corp. for grass cutting services for the Grass Cutting Assistance Program in an amount not to exceed $49,500. Item 4, a resolution authorizing the execution of a lease agreement to acquire copier equipment for a period of 5 years for a total payment not to exceed $55,501.80. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Alderman Woods.
Yes.
Alderman Sosnarski.
Yes.
Alderman Sorrentino.
Yes.
Alderman Messina.
Yes.
Alderman Jacob.
Yes.
Alderman Currielli.
Yes.
Alderman Catalano.
Yes.
Alderman Ames. Yes.
And that passes. Next, committee chairman reports, planning and zoning, Alderman Woods.
No report, Mayor.
Thank you. Public health and safety, Alderman Sosnarski.
I have one, Mayor, an ordinance amending the City of Wooddale Municipal Code, Chapter 6, Article 3, Section 6.303 of the City Code regarding collection of refuse and storage of garbage containers.
Is that your motion?
That's my motion.
Second.
Any questions on this? Let's do roll call.
Alderman Woods.
Yes.
Alderman Sosnarski.
Yes.
Alderman Sorrentino.
Yes.
Alderman Messina.
Yes.
Alderman Jacob.
Yes.
Alderman Currielli.
Yes.
Alderman Catalano.
Yes.
Alderman Ames.
Yes.
And that passes.
That's the end of my report.
Thank you. Next, Public Works, Alderman Messina.
I have 3 reports, Mayor.
Go ahead.
First is an approval of pay request number 2, final, to Schroder Asphalt Services, Inc. for the fiscal year 2022 pavement patching program in the amount of $12,695.55. That is my motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Questions on this? Roll call.
Alderman Woods.
Yes.
Alderman Sismarski.
Yes.
Alderman Sorrentino.
Yes.
Alderman Messina.
Yes.
Alderman Jacob.
Yes.
Alderman Currielli.
Yes.
Alderman Catalano.
Yes.
Alderman Ames.
Yes.
And that passes.
And then next is a resolution approving an agreement between the City of Wooddale and HR Green for professional services for Second Avenue at Spruce Road feasibility study in the amount not to exceed $14,355. And that is my motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Questions? Roll call.
Alderman Woods.
No.
Alderman Sismarski.
No.
Alderman Sorrentino.
Yes.
Alderman Messina.
Yes.
Alderman Jacob.
Yes.
Alderman Currielli.
No.
Alderman Catalano.
Yes.
Alderman Ames.
Yes.
And that passes.
Oh, sorry. Like what? Next is a resolution approving an agreement between the City of Wooddale and HR Green for professional services for Tall Oaks Detention Basin Retrofit in an amount not to exceed $50,000. That would be my motion as well.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Questions? Alderman Woods.
Yeah, do we actually own this pond?
My recollection is we do not, but we have responsibilities because we made changes to it years ago. Mr. Lang, you want to add to that?
Yeah, we do have an agreement packet in our city folders, which I will review to fully verify that the city, if they do not own this pond, that we are responsible for the maintenance of it. And I will have that shared with the chief to send out to the council tomorrow.
Well, I could tell you, we do not own that pond. The townhomes own that pond. And previous councils, even before me, they made some changes on direction and directed more water towards that pond. And I know the council, when I first got on, tried to get rid of it. And I said, didn't you guys make changes to this? And then a couple of the other aldermen that were on the council, that were here for a while, said, yes, we did. I'm like, so how can you guys give the responsibility back to them when you made changes to it yourselves? And then basically there's an agreement that the city could have got out of, and they tried to finagle their way out of it, even though they know they made changes to it. And that was not from my recollection, it was from those that were on the council before me. Go ahead, Mr. Lane.
Like you said, there is an agreement, and much like the streets in that subdivision, which are privately owned, however, the city takes on certain maintenance responsibility, I'll verify those responsibilities for the detention basin as well.
Alderman Sismarski.
So this $50,000, is that a total, or what's the total expense of the retrofit? Are we bearing?
No,
the
no,
full-
no, this is for engineering services.
Okay. Well,
It's not for the project.
It still goes the same place. Are we on the hook are we paying the whole thing, or did the Tall Oaks pay anything into it?
No.
Anything?
The city's
The
paying
city's
for
paying
this.
for everything, the Tall Oaks didn't have to pay a dime.
Correct. Mr. Bond, did you want to step in, or? No. Okay.
What do you say? No, pass.
Alderman Woods, go ahead.
Both pass.
Yeah, so I just asked, because I did some research, and
Yeah.
I couldn't find any language going back all
It's,
the way to
so,
the early 80s.
it was, like I said, it was before my time, right? And that pond was put in before my house was built. Actually, my house, the block, the 3 blocks, the single-family homes all tie into there, but all the responsibility was given to the townhomes on Potter. When whoever broke up the deal, whatever it was, that's the way it was broken up. That's the way it was done. And then there was a deal for, I think, $1,000, if you look back. It was really hilarious. For $1,000.
If
For
that's
this-
the case, that's the case. I'd just like to see the document.
Yeah, I'm sure they have them.
And second, I'll raise my concern that spending $500,000 and the drainage along the railroad right away isn't working. So what are we gonna do that's my biggest concern, not spending the money, right? It's gonna be a good project, there's gonna be benefits.
And
But if it can't drain, we're gonna wind up with a more expensive thing that doesn't work than we have now.
And I'll just tag on to that. My concern is that this pond, I mean, right now, I know it doesn't drain properly and it's hard to mow. My concern is
Oh, yeah.
we're gonna have another lava pit or whatever is on Potter, that fiasco, nothing's draining. It looks just like mud frozen over. It's terrible. I see it every day. That's the biggest fear, because I'll tell you what, if that rain garden looks anything like that one, oh my God, it's gonna be a disaster. Go ahead, Mr. Lane.
Thank you, Mayor. And we have had discussions in the past with Metro about increasing the maintenance along that corridor. However, included in this agreement is coordination with Metro to take on additional measures, possibly additional infrastructure improvements, which would help facilitate drainage along that easement.
Alderman Messina, go ahead.
I think you guys both kind of touched on it, but I got feedback last week from the meeting, and I think you hit it right, is we keep calling it Tall Oaks Pond. That pond services not just Tall Oaks, actually just 3 houses, literally, 3 of those, that row of homes. It's actually
The
your
townhome-
block,
the townhomes.
Catalpa, yeah, there's multiple
Right.
houses that feed into that. So some took offense to the fact we keep calling it Tall Oaks Pond. It's not, there's only 1 block of Tall
But-
Oaks townhomes.
but
And
that's
that
what-
agreement, as you know, there are a lot of goofy agreements way back when that were made. We maintain the pond, just like the crazy agreement that was made to maintain their streets, even though they're private streets. That's not on us, but like you said, it's something that like we inherited, right?
Mr. Lane?
And to Alderman Messina's point, Tall Oaks Pond does drain portions of Potter Street and Windsor, so it is to mutual benefit of the city as well.
And there's also, so some of the changes that were made, the way I understood, again, this is pre-me. When they did some changes and they added the pond on Oak Meadows Drive and were doing some stuff, they also rerouted some of the water that comes from the south and comes north. And basically, that's why those 3 houses, when it really backs up, become islands, because the water was somehow directed. And I don't know exactly what it all was, but they all said, oh yeah, well, we did that. I'm like, so how you guys gonna give it back to them? That's not fair.
Can I finish my?
Go ahead.
thought? The other thing too that was brought up was those townhomes on Wooddale Road, was it Oak Meadows, whatever that.
Oak Hill.
Oak Hill. If you remember, Attorney Bond was part of that drainage issue that they were complaining about, right? And some of that water, when we started looking at that, was being fed into the Tall Oaks retention pond.
Wait,
So
which-
you may want
Are you
to,
talking about Oak Hill or the ones off
Oak-
Division?
no, Oak Hill. Or
Yeah.
you would know, remember, was it Division or, no, it was Division, you're right, it is Division, Station Walk. Same scenario, is feeding into that pond. So there was that comment of like, hey, you guys are making it sound like it's our townhome when.
Legally, that's the legal
name. So
term
just to
for it.
clarify
so.
that, and the other is, and this is probably a broader question, maybe a capital planning, but like, the numbers have people very confused, they keep getting thrown out. So I don't know if we need to have one of those like tickers above us, like they do in the stock market, because the numbers that people are getting very confused, and
Numbers
I
for
can-
what?
Oh, the numbers that are in like that we talk up here about. I know they eventually, and I point people to the meeting minutes, that's what I did in this case. But, and again, this is probably not a topic for now, but can we look at another way of actually reiterating the amounts on anything we do? Because people are very confused on the amounts people are throwing out. no offense, you, me, anybody throws out. It
And
wasn't-
you mean any project? I'm
Any
just
project.
Okay.
I mean, people are so confused at home, and a project that's 200,000, now somebody's like, of course you don't want to spend $1 million. I'm like, where are you? People are not getting his money, so I had to actually literally print out the meeting minutes to bring to this person to prove to them that it was not that, but we throw these numbers around, so, again, probably a topic for another day, but can we somehow change the standard of like, if the numbers are that, maybe we reiterate it multiple times for the people at home? Because there's mass confusion.
Well, nothing's final until we have the final, hold on a second, guys. So nothing's final until we actually vote on it, and the not to exceed a number is, right now, we're dealing hypotheticals until the studies are done and whatnot.
I'm just
So,
saying, like, in this case, it's a feasibility study, so to be clear for those at home, I guess, 50,000 is for the feasibility study.
Correct.
Right? And then the project is to be determined depending on the scope of work that's determined, and they're gonna bring multiple options.
Go ahead, Mr. Lane.
For this particular project, the $50,000 is for design engineering. So we would be getting this project shovel-ready.
Not feasibility, okay.
To bid, correct.
Okay.
Right, so, and that's the reason going out so we can apply for that other grant. We've received one grant through the county, correct? Which was 25%, up to 103,000. But then there's also, what's the other grant,
It's
Mr. Lane? I
the
forget.
American Rescue Plan Act
Okay,
through
that's
DuPage County Stormwater Management.
Okay. If we qualify, of course. Everything's if we qualify on
Can I just
the
have-
second one.
One final thought is.
Go ahead. Alderman
Clerk, can you
Messina.
make sure those are in the notes, those figures that we're talking about, that we qualify for in the grants? Thank you. Like I said, there's literally mass confusion of
Well,
like the numbers, the grants, the amounts.
Well, last week, so it was 25% of 400,000 was 103,000, right? Then there was the other grant that we could, and depending if it was to 500,000. I don't remember all the numbers from last week. Mr. Lane, maybe you
It's in the
recall?
memo.
So this grant that we're pursuing now would be eligible for up to 50% of the remaining construction costs outside of that 25% that you already indicated,
Okay,
Mayor.
so Mr. Bond brought it up, okay. Go ahead, Alderman Woods.
So we're on it. What is the projected cost of the project?
The engineer's
Go ahead,
estimate
Mr. Lane.
of probable cost is just under $500,000, so 494,
So,
I
and those were
believe.
the numbers we used last week. The numbers haven't changed.
Okay, well, we're gonna start again. Alderman Jacob, go ahead.
Well, one comment, I mean, I know the mayor already said it, how the whole area kind of drains into there, but that pond does overflow onto Potter Street, and it becomes a major issue for those homes over there for flooding. And just a question on the grant money, is that just for this pond, or is that for,
Hold on, guys. Guys, we're recording.
Yes, so
Go ahead, Mr. Lane.
The grant money is for a specific project, so it is.
for this project?
for this-
Okay.
Correct.
Okay,
It's
perfect.
not like we can transfer it.
Okay, no, I just wanted to make sure it was for this project.
And again, they're gonna have to convince us that it's not gonna look like that Potter Street pond, because not a chance,
Yeah.
ever again. Any other questions on that? We have a motion, we have a second. Alderman Currielli.
Yes, Director, what is the annual cost for maintaining the pond once it's redone as a wetland or with native grasses versus just a grass that's mown?
Would you have that cost right now?
Not an exact cost, no. I can tell you that for the other natural planting areas that we have, which is Squaw Creek, Elizabeth Court, Detention Basins, the Potter Street Rain Garden, and the compensatory storage basin at the North Wastewater Treatment Plant, all of those combined are roughly $7,600 for the year for maintenance. And as far as maintenance for, weekly mowing of a grass basin, I guess you'd have to account for, staff time, wear and tear on equipment. I would imagine it's higher than that, although I don't have any exact figures for you.
Do you have a follow-up? Go
A
ahead.
follow-up. I think in the proposal, it said something about the ecologists coming out annually. That's another cost as well, or is that included with the price?
Mr. Lane.
So the firm that does our native plant maintenance throughout the year is an environmental management firm. And one thing that HR Green has been doing for these types of projects lately is speccing that during the design process, an environmental management firm be brought in early on to set specifications and expectations to ensure that the project is successful.
Follow-up? Go ahead.
So is that an annual thing, or is it just once or twice?
Go ahead, Mr.
I'm
Lane.
not sure if this would be required to have what they call a 3M period, which is maintenance, monitoring, and management. As it is a waterway of the U.S., presumably, because it's the headwaters of Silver Creek, the Army Corps of Engineers may require that we do an annual report, which is one of the things that we're currently contracting with the environmental management firm now for the remaining portion of Squaw Creek that was finished under the stormwater project this year. But it is just a once annually report that needs to get issued.
Follow-up?
And
Go ahead.
what's the approximate cost for that report?
Do you know that, Mr. Lane?
I believe, I don't know the exact cost, but it's built into that $7,600 amount for this year's environmental management.
Okay, thank you.
And out of that $7,600, maybe 200's for that Potter Street pond, right? Because it doesn't look like it's working.
They threw that in for free, Mayor.
Yeah, I'm sure that one's right. Mr. Alderman Jacob.
This is for the attorney. As far as, since Metro does have to keep their right-of-way clean, aren't they legally bound to do that? And can't we, what can we do as a city to get them to do their job?
Go ahead, Mr. Bond.
The answer to your first question is, are they legally bound to maintain their property in accordance with our code? The answer is yes. The second question you had is, what can we do? There's some restrictions on what we can do with the, because we can't interfere with the railroad property. There's some preemptive sections of the code, so that's a complicated answer to saying there's very little we can do if they don't comply.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Lane. Roll call.
Alderman Woods.
On approving,
Number 3,
50,000?
yeah, for the
Thank you.
engineering.
Got it.
Okay. Alderman Sismarski.
No.
Alderman Sorrentino.
Yes.
Alderman Messina.
Yes.
Alderman Jacob.
Yes.
Alderman Currielli.
No.
Alderman Catalano.
yes,
Alderman Ames.
Yes.
and that passes.
26.
Oh, he's done.
Yeah,
only
call
Alderman
Alderman
Woods was the first.
First one.
Oh, I didn't even hear.
Okay.
Yeah, no, he was first. He said no.
And that concludes my
I
report.
didn't hear Peter, did
Thank you.
Peter?
Yeah,
And they're fixed, right?
Yep, that passes. Yep.
that passes. Next, Finance Administration, Alderman Catalano.
No report, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Nothing under other business at this time.
Try to explain to people that we're getting shit.
Approval of list of bills, Alderman Catalano.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to approve the list of bills for March 17, 2022, for $914,794.39.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. Any questions on any of the bills? Roll call, please.
Alderman Woods.
Yes.
Alderman Sismarski.
Yes.
Alderman Sorrentino.
Yes.
Alderman Messina.
Yes.
Alderman Jacob.
Yes.
Alderman Currielli.
Yes.
Alderman Catalano.
Yes.
Alderman Ames.
Yes.
And that passes. We have no executive session, no items to be referred. Need a motion to adjourn.
So
I'll make the
moved.
motion.
A motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Alderman Sismarski, second. We're adjourned. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Bye.